After Dark show for May 26, 2024. Going to be looking at week 2 NFL lines. I know you guys are like, wait, it's not even week 1 yet. It's May. But I think that it's important for 2 reasons. One, we can maybe find some good value and bet a game, get a spread that's not going to be available after week 1. And also going to look at the other reason is, we could see like maybe some teams week 1 are going to be looking ahead to certain games. I think Slew pointed out in the chat a couple of instances where teams might be looking ahead. So I think that looking at week 2 or always looking at the week in advance is important. Also going to do a Scottie Scheffler hedge announcement here. Just going to look at the odds and try to figure out what we're going to do. I was hoping that Tom or QuackyTakes was going to be on here to discuss the week 2 lines with me, because I know he likes to look ahead as well. But I can't reach him. I don't know where he is. I sent him a few texts. He's usually like available on Saturday nights, and he said he was going to do the show, but I don't know where he is. So hopefully he's okay. So I'm on here, so you guys can ask me anything you want. I'll answer anything. You guys know how that goes. So please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. As you can see, we have some cool merch here. We have some new t-shirts. The True Anonymous Shop Under Pressure is not new, but if you guys don't know what that is, just Google it and you'll have a good laugh. Money laundering. The colors are chosen very carefully. You guys probably know why. Rogers Butker, make football great again. Can't wait till this t-shirt arrives, and I just want to see the people's reaction to this. Some people who might not be football fans are like, what is that? But people who are football fans, like, either going to be like high-fiving me or just scowling at me. So always looking forward to that. There are 4 lights. Just make sure you don't get brainwashed into believing something isn't true. Like, if they tell you a guy's a girl or vice versa, and that's not true, don't believe it. Just say there are 4 lights. Pedo Pete, just in time for the election. It's coming up in about 6 months. So get your Pedo Pete t-shirt and tell everyone where you stand. And then November is Sloth Month. It's important to acknowledge the other 6 deadly sins. I think it's about time that they get their month. Actually, I kind of regret not naming November a gluttony month, but like sloth and gluttony is like almost the same. So it's not too bad. Also, there are super chats, super stickers. Please consider supporting us with those. I say this all the time. YouTube ads pay nothing. The last time we had a show with no no super chats or super stickers, we made like 74 cents. So it's pretty bleak, these YouTube ads. So any support you guys give is really appreciated. We talk about it all the time, like whenever one of my guests comes on or co-host is on, which it seems like an eternity that we haven't had a co-host on here. It's like, I think this is the first time I've done a whole week by myself. But Tuesday, Jacob had an event with his family. He just couldn't make it. On Wednesday, Kenny forgot his wife's birthday. And so he didn't come because he had to go buy a gift and then take his wife out to dinner. And then Thursday, I didn't have a guest plan. But yeah, like I said, I don't know where Tom is. I sent him some texts. Hopefully, he didn't respond yet. So maybe he just passed out. I just imagine that's probably the case. But usually Tom's pretty on point with that. Like, he usually texts me. He's like, when are we going live? And he just hasn't come on or responded at all. So I sent him the link in an email. So if he gets it, he can maybe pop on later. But yeah, kind of disappointed that he's not on. But maybe, I don't know. Well, hopefully everything's okay. But anyway, yeah. So like whenever we have a co-host on and like one of you guys supports us, like after the show's over, like, oh, that was awesome. Like so-and-so like contributed and it's really appreciated. Slew bailed us out on Thursday with 222. We recently had Kevin Kovac with $25, Michael McGee $25, John Sanders and Germ both gave $269, as that's the magical number. That's what a McDonald's cheeseburger costs these days. We've had some other contributions as well, so it really is appreciated. Can't say that enough. And then you can also support us by buying my book on Amazon. It's Jerks of the College Years. Tom was here. I could tell him, or he can maybe describe one of these people, maybe the guy in the bottom right. That is Joseph Scarfman, who is a weird guy on my floor who was really freaked out by a spider that he saw in the shower, and I had to save him. And then he he talked me up to his friends. He's a very strange guy. But yeah, you can read about that story in Jerks of the College Years, which is basically Jerks of the Week, but with all my stories from college. And I spent 6 years at Penn State. So as you can imagine, I had a lot to write about. I actually had a weird dream. I guess it was a nightmare a couple of nights ago, where I was driving up to Penn State and I was driving up a mountain and I fell off. And it was one of those falling dreams you had. I haven't had those in a long time. But I had a dream that I was like falling off the mountain. I just woke up in a cold sweat. So that was it was pretty brutal. But yeah, so I haven't been to Penn State in so long. And actually, you don't really drive on mountains, really. I don't know why I was driving up a mountain going to Penn State, but that was quite a bad dream. So I just had that in mind. Like saying, I'll bet Quacky found himself Daisy Duck. Well, I mean, hopefully, I that's better than passing out or whatever else happened. But if he had a date, I think that he would have told me. So I'm willing to bet no. Not that Tom can't find a Daisy Duck. I just think that he would have said something. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it was the spur of the moment thing. Like maybe he hooked up with his neighbor unexpectedly or something. I don't know. For all I know, his neighbor is like an 80-year-old woman. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he's okay. But yeah, anyway, so let me do the Scottie Scheffler thing first, because just in case Tom comes on, we'll do that after. So Scottie Scheffler right now. Actually, let me pull up the contest so far. This Charles Schwab. So Scheffler had a 7-under day. We were very lucky to get him at 11-1 after day one. He started +2. If he just finished par on day one, he'd be 2 back right now instead of 4 back. But yeah, I mean he's a 4 back of Riley Davis. Not sure. I almost tweeted this out when Riley Davis is 15 under, but then he bogeyed a couple times and like this doesn't apply anymore. But I was gonna tweet out. I was like, someone should drug test Riley Davis. Like what is going on here? Like this is a difficult course. Like a 14 under is absurd. You look at Scheffler's 10 under. You have a couple guys 9, 8, 7. Like Colin Morikawa was the second favorite to win this. He's 6 under. Finau, a really good golfer, just doesn't putt that well. He's 7 under. Sung Jae, very talented golfer. He's 6 under. Keegan Bradley 6 under. And then you have like Sepion Straka, Minwoo Lee, like guys we bet before are 5 under. Ricky Fowler, you guys might know his name, is 5 under. So yeah, this is like, these are like natural scores. Like 10 under is fantastic. Like, especially considering that Scheffler was 2 over after day one. But 14 under is absurd. I don't know how long this can last. I imagine there has to be a regression to the mean. Let me show you why. Because Riley Davis is not that good of a golfer. If you look at his attributes here, driving accuracy is below average. Approach, which is really key for this course, is below average. Putting is about average. So and the best he's finished this year is 14th at the Houston Open. That, by the way, Scheffler got second in that tournament. So yeah, last tournament was the Myrtle Beach Classic, which is like a really an event with like not too many good players. Like it ran simultaneously with I forget what it was. It wasn't the Zurich. I forget what it was, but anyway, it was a major event that was elevated, and so all the top golfers were there. So you had like someone like Chris Gotterup won it, and so he finished 66th in that in a really bad field, and like now he's leading Scheffler by 4. It just doesn't make sense. I feel like I said, I think there's definitely a regression to the mean. Like he's been cut 7 times this year out of how many? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's missed the cut half the time this year. There's no reason this guy should be doing this well. Even last year, look at this. He won the Zurich Classic, but that was with the Zurich is a team event. So even if you take that out, his best finish is 8th at the Arnold Palmer. To close out the year, he finished 45th cut, 31st, 28th cut, 43rd cut. Like this guy's he's not that good. Like there's no reason why he should be 14 under. That's why I was talking about like he should be drug tested. And like if you look at the attributes, just like look at this pentagon here, and I'm going to show you Scheffler. It's just you're gonna laugh. Scheffler is like that. Like that's absurd. I mean, Scheffler is the best golfer in the world, and I don't think it's even close right now. If he had his caddy at the PGA Championship, he probably would have won. But yeah, so I think Scheffler is going to win, even though he's 4 back, and the odds show that he is right now is let's pull it up. He's plus 125. And Davis Riley's plus 110. And the next closest guy, Pearson Cootie's 30-1. And then Hayden Buckley 33, Finau 35. Like, I find it extremely difficult to believe that anyone besides Riley and Scheffler could win this. And like, if this were like Finau 9 under, or a Straka 9 under, or Tom Kim 9 under, Keegan Bradley, Sung Jae 9 under, Colin Morikawa especially 9 under, like, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But Pearson Cootie's not good either. Like, look at this. Like, he's not accurate. His approach is bad. Putting's average. Hayden Buckley's not good either. Just, I mean, look at this. He's like, I don't understand why so many crappy golfers up here. Robbie Shelton's not good. I have his Rainmaker card. He's like better than the other guys, but he's not that good either. Like, the best golfer here is Finau. And even he, like, his accuracy is not that good. His putting's bad. Like, you need to be a good putter on this course, and he's doing well somehow. So I don't know. Like I said, if Finau's like 9 under, like, maybe he'd have a shot, but 7 under, I find it really hard to believe that he'd win this. Like, yeah, they give it a 1.7% chance of winning for Finau. So I think it's Scheffler or Riley. That's what they say. Riley's 52% to win. Scheffler's 36.6% to win. And I think I would flip that, honestly. I know that they have this algorithm and everything. Like, 4 back is a lot, but I'd be shocked if Riley continues this. There's no reason to believe that he should be doing this well. So let me see here. Chris says maybe he's having a duck orgy with Daffy Donald, Puddles, Howard, Plucky, Ace, and Count Duckula. I thought I was going to say Count Dankula. Yeah, Ace Duck for sure. It's funny you brought up Ace Duck because I found actually I didn't find, my wife found a box of action figures I had from when I was a kid. It was just like stored away in my closet, and my son was going through it, and he pulled out an Ace Duck figure, because I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have so many TMNT figurines, and like one of them was Ace Duck. And he goes like Mickey Mouse, and he's 2. And I'm like, no, that's I forget that guy's name. And so I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, Ace Duck. Now I remember that. So yeah, he has an Ace Duck figurine that he thinks is related to Mickey Mouse. But I haven't introduced him to Turtles yet, because I'm trying to milk this Mario thing as long as possible. I don't want. We have a bunch of Mario toys here. I don't want to keep buying like other stuff. So yeah, he's super into Mario ever since watching the Super Mario Brothers movie. He watched that on New Year's Eve, and it's been like all Mario ever since. Like, he just can't get enough of Mario. So he has to wear Mario t-shirts. He has Mario books. He has all these Mario figurines, like many of them from my childhood, but he's bought some new ones, or we bought some new ones for him. Yeah, he's really into it. So yeah, Ace Duck. I like that you put that in there. And Ernie's rubber ducky, of course. You have to include that. Chris says, I tried not to include any related ducks, although I don't know the rules when it comes to duck orgies, as I've never been invited to one. I have not either. Maybe someone in the chat has, and they can enlighten us about it. But yeah, you don't want to assume. So I like that you're treading on the safe side there, Chris. Sue says Siakam scoreless last 6 minutes plus. Pacers can't force overtime. Thank goodness, a nice night. I was shocked because I fell asleep around the beginning of the 4th quarter. I knew that Siakam had 20 in the 3rd quarter, and I thought that was that, but I thought the Pacers would definitely win. I was just so tired. I like zonked out. I was watching the game, and I just fell asleep during the commercial, and I fell asleep. I woke up when the game was over, and I saw that the Celtics won by 3. And I'm like, oh man, like the Siakam definitely went over though, right? And he didn't. He finished under. So that was really nice. I thought we were gonna win the Pacers one for sure, because they were up. I don't know what happened at the end, but they were up by like 14 when I fell asleep or something. But yeah, I thought Siakam was gonna lose. I thought it was gonna be one of those days where we won the bet but lost the prop. But it was nice to get both. So that was pretty cool. So that 365 has Riley plus 115, Scheffler plus 130. It's pretty good. Yeah, so I was looking at FanDuel, and FanDuel has Riley plus 110, Scheffler plus 125. I didn't find anything better than plus 110. I looked at Bookmaker. I think he's like plus 100 there. I looked at Bovada. I looked at BetUS. I looked at Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, DraftKings. I don't have access to Bet365. Like, I could technically drive to New Jersey tonight and bet that, but I don't think the 5 cents is worth it, you know. I think like the gas, the gas would cost more, but yeah, plus 115's pretty fantastic. So I like that, especially given that like he's like plus 100. And if you think about it, like getting either plus 110 or plus 115, but the guy's 52% to win, like that's a good bet in itself. Now, again, like I said, I don't think this number is correct. I think Scheffler's going to win, especially because like Riley's just not that good of a golfer. He's not terrible, but it's just not. He's not good. But according to this, and I trust Data Golf, like according to this, it is good value. So yeah, I plan on betting Riley Davis. Exactly how, I'll say that in a second. But Chris says I thought of some more ducks for Quacky's orgy. Darkwing Duck, Launchpad, the Aflac Duck, of course, Side Duck, Baby Huey. We have Huey, Dewey, and Louie, right? You have all three of those. Gizmo Duck and the Dancing Duck from South Park. Dancing Duck for South Park. I don't remember that. And I feel like I've watched every South Park. I don't remember that. But yeah, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, of course. Maybe they're too young for the orgy though. Chris says, my ace duck went on a sad adventure, fell to the couch at my grandparents' cottage and spent the next year or two there. He was recovered intact, though, still wedged on their cushion. I can't tell you how many toys we've lost. We lost. So he has a bunch of Marios. He's like he has what he calls regular Mario, which is standard Mario. He has a jumping Mario. He actually has two. Why I'll say in a second. He has a jumping Mario, which is a Mario in jumping action. He has Icy Mario, which is Mario with Ice Flower. He has Climbing Mario, which is one of my toys I had when I was a kid. It's Mario climbing a beanstalk, like he does in Super Mario 2. He has Super Mario, which is a giant Mario, a stuffed animal. And he has a Baby Mario, which is like a tiny Mario. So and so we lost Baby Mario. We have no idea where he is. He's been lost for a couple months. He also has these coins, the Mario coins that you get from hitting one of those blocks. We had two of them, and well, we had one initially, and it came with the jumping Mario. He lost the jumping Mario, and he lost the coin, and so he was upset about it. So we bought him another one. So he had the second jumping Mario and the second coin, and then so we lost the jumping Mario for like 3 weeks, and then he found it. We didn't know where. Like he runs up to us. He's like, 2 jumping Marios, and we're like, where did you find the other one? We're searching for it for like 3 weeks. And then, so he still lost the coin, and then he lost the second coin. So we still don't know where any of the coins are, but we have the 2 jumping Marios, and we don't have the Baby Mario. So it's I guess it comes with the territory. I don't know how he loses them so easily. It's kind of ridiculous. Mike says sounds pretty kinky. Yes, it really is. Chris says, please no gambling talk, Slew. I had Giants Mets under 8.5 earlier, 2-1 game in the ninth, finished 2-7. Then I went on tilt and things got ugly. Man, you don't want to go on tilt when you lose badly. Just gotta pack it in. It sucks. Mike says, I wonder if a platypus could sneak into a duck orgy. Now we're talking kinky, right? Sue says, isn't there a Bo Nix duck? Yeah, any Oregon duck, right? Joey Harrington would count, right? In that instance. So yeah, any Oregon duck, or Anaheim Mighty Ducks, right? Paul Correa, perhaps. That's like the only duck I know. Obviously, he's not there anymore, or at least I don't think he is. Like he played in the 90s. So any Anaheim duck, I can't name one, but you guys might be able to. Baby Huey's different from Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know. I assumed that it was Huey, and then I didn't want to forget Dewey and Louie for sure. Like says very different. Chris says the South Park duck was you got effed in the A episode. Checking season 8, episode 4, when Stan has to form a dance group after getting served. Not the best episode besides Butters. I like the getting served episode. I remember that. I don't remember the duck. Maybe I vaguely do. Yeah, I have to watch that episode again. Like season 8 was obviously so long ago. That was what, 2004. So it's like 20 years ago. So yeah, I do remember watching that episode. I just don't remember the duck in that episode, but I kind of like vision, like I kind of like see it though. But yeah, anyway, Chris says, okay, one more gambling thing then. What do you recommend after a nasty loss or two, aside from hiding my phone? You just want to keep making good bets. Like you don't want to go on tilt and make a bad bet because like think about it this way, like would you make that bet if it was like the normal situation, normal circumstances? Um, say you won, like would you bet it then? Just right, I wouldn't think so, right? Just maybe it's just like just try to find a better opportunity and like try like just hope for better variance, because like there's always variance with these sort of things. um just like don't make a bad bet and just act like you normally would and just try not to go until it's just like one of the worst things you could do, because it just like you just compound losses and then you just make it worse, you know. Okay, so let's look at the odds again. So Slew was saying he gets plus 115 at Bet 365. It's plus 110 here at FanDuel. And I think as a couple others. Like I remember I think Caesars is plus 110 as well. I mean, DraftKings I think is plus 105, but yeah, so a couple books here have plus 110. So my current bet on Scheffler is I have so my original bet was at plus 310. I had 310, sorry, 300 to win 930. And then at 11 to 1 after day one, I bet 50 to win 550. So I'm currently 350 to win what is it? 1480. So what I want to do is I want to bet Riley enough to like I get my money back if he wins, and if Scheffler wins, then I subtract 330 from 1480, so I'd win 1150, which is still pretty good, you know. So I think I'm going to bet Riley. I think I'm going to bet 3 units. I'm kicking myself because I saw he was plus 175 at one point today when Scheffler drew within 3. And then Riley birdied a hole later on. But I was thinking about betting it, but like, you know, I was outside with my kids. They're in the pool, and my daughter was freaking out. Like, and my son, he was eating a popsicle in the pool, and then like some of the popsicle dripped into the pool, and then like he screamed that he got out. He thought it was a bug, but I was like, dude, that's your popsicle. So like it was crazy, and I just didn't have enough time to think. So it's unfortunate that it's not plus 175 anymore. Otherwise, I'd bet 2 units on that to win 350. So I'm going to bet 3 units plus 110 to win 330. Get almost most of my money back. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm going to do. It's just like I know plus 110 is not ideal. Like we might get a much better number. Like I said, I expect Scheffler to win this. So if that happens, Riley, you know, eventually you could probably get Riley for like plus 200 or something like that. And maybe in that case, like maybe, you know what I actually might do instead? I might bet 2 units now, and then try to get a better number and bet a third unit on that. Like maybe I'll do that, like during Sunday afternoon. So yeah, I think that's better. Because like I said, I do expect better numbers, but you know, if Scheffler bogeys the first hole, then you know our opportunity might be gone too. So I do want to bet something now. You know, just in case we don't get that opportunity. I'm kind of like salty that I didn't hedge on Sunday, last Sunday with the PGA Championship. But there were like 2 guys involved. There were it was Schauffele and Hovland. If it was just one of them, I would have bet it. But and then I expected it to go to extra holes, and Schauffele birdied the 18. So it didn't. That was a missed opportunity. But yeah, I do want to get something now and then maybe something later. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bet Riley for 2 units plus 110, and then look for like plus 180 or better, and then bet a third unit on that. So I definitely get more than my money back if Riley wins. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll post that on Sunday afternoon. But I will post on the site and on Twitter my Riley bet for now, the plus 110. But if you guys have any suggestions for that, I'm all ears too. No more baseball. There's a lot of variance in baseball for sure. I haven't bet baseball this year. I did DraftKings. I did like 2 or 3 DraftKings tournaments. I didn't cash any of them. But that was only for like $20 each or something. Last year I bet home runs a lot, and I made a decent amount on FanDuel, but I was using Odd Shopper, which I still would recommend. But like for some reason, and I still don't know if this is the case, but when the season started, I just couldn't get the home run props to appear, especially on my phone. because like I need to do it on my phone because like when I'm watching the kids, I just can't get to my computer. So I can just do that on my phone. But like it wasn't appearing on my phone, so that's I just haven't done it this year. But maybe I'll do that when basketball ends. But so Stanley says, "Hey Walter, I wouldn't consider the Giants as the worst team in the NFL, so I think they're going to win more games than what people think. I think they're a 7 to 8 win team. I would love to know why, Stanley, because I just don't see it with them. Like their quarterback is coming off a torn ACL. Saquon Barkley's gone. Outside of Malik Neighbors, they have nothing at receiver. Darren Waller is probably going to retire. He hasn't shown up to practice yet. The defense, their pass rush is going to be better, but their secondary looks really bad. I don't like their linebacking core, and their offensive line. They got a couple new players, but I just don't think any of them are any good. So you're only counting on Andrew Thomas as a great offensive lineman. Like I don't think their blocking is going to be good outside of Thomas, which has been a huge problem for them for a while. So I just don't see it with the Giants. I feel like every team you could argue is better than them. Maybe not the Broncos. I think the Giants, Broncos are the two worst teams. Patriots are going to be in there, but the Patriots at least have a good defense. But yeah, other than that, I think they are definitely one of the worst teams. So I would love to hear like why you like them. Like maybe I'm missing something, but so Dennis Phillips Weather says I have Scheffler at $500 to win $7,000. Wow. How would I hedge? I would, again, same thing that I'm doing. I'll try to like make my money back with Riley. I do think Scheffler's going to win, but like try to make it so like you can bet 500 on Riley to win 550. And then, if Riley wins, you get $50 or you could do that to start. You could bet five units on Riley to start. And then like if a plus 200 appears, maybe bet a couple hundred more on him. And so if Riley wins, you'll get like $900 minus the 500 you bet. You'll win $400. And if Scheffler wins, you just subtract 700 from 7,000, so you get 6,300. So I think that's how I would approach it. But good luck. That's quite the haul that you get there. So I wish I had that sort of stake involved. But yeah, I mean. That is awesome. I'll be rooting for you. Obviously, I'm rooting for myself too. Sue says, Chris, you could use the George Costanza approach. figure out a bet, and then bet the opposite. I don't like that because I've been on cold spells before in the past, and I thought about it, and then I'm like, wait, well, what if I win a couple times, like using this approach? And then if I really like a game, I'm going to like second guess myself. I'm like, wait, I like the other team, so I'm going to bet the team I like, I feel like you can get in trouble that way. So I don't know. I think I know you're joking, but like what I really would do, like if you're on a cold spell, like either figure out if it's bad luck or if it's just bad variance going against you. If it's bad variance going against you, or if you think you're doing something wrong, like there is a chance that you're handicapping poorly. Like maybe you don't have a good read on the teams. Like maybe you need to dig in further. Maybe the strategy you're doing is not working very well. That could always be the case. But you could also just have a crap ton of bad luck. Like that could be the case too. So try to figure out what's going wrong. And just do that. That's my suggestion. But if it's like one or two bad losses with bad luck, like it's usually like I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just don't make any bad bets. Giants play AFC North. Yeah, it's I didn't look at their schedule yet. I haven't done their season preview. I'm up to the NFC South. I just did the Buccaneers. I didn't post any of that yet, but on my computer I have that. And I didn't get to the Giants yet, but I can't imagine that they're going to win more than 4 games. Okay, so Barron's 900 says, is it just me or have you noticed VIG is increasing? DK week 1 has Ravens Chiefs plus 130 minus 155. Should be plus 130 minus 150. It should be. I don't think that's like the case for most sports books, and like maybe that's just temporary because week 1 is just so far out, and they could just be protecting themselves because if there's injuries, like they don't want to be on the hook for some big losses. So I I think you might see that even out as the season approaches. Because if they do that, like no one's going to bet up with them. You know, like they're just going to go to other sports books, which is like it's such a great thing that there's so many opportunities out there. Well, unless you're in Florida, and then you can't bet anywhere except for Hard Rock. Chris says, "LOL, I did try the Costanza once years ago. Terrible idea. Yeah, it's like good in theory, but then you know, it's I think it's a mistake to do that." And it says, I think the Giants are a decent team because they've Devin Singletary, who's a decent back, and they have Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, who will complement neighbors, and they have an improved defensive line. I agree with the improved defensive line. Wan'Dale Robinson's okay. Jalen Hyatt showed nothing last year, but maybe he'll develop. Singletary, like, man, I don't know. I don't know what to think of Singletary because he did nothing throughout his career until last year in Houston. And like suddenly he was great, but like there was so much attention on the passing game that like teams couldn't really focus in on Singletary. So I don't know. Like with the Giants, like are teams really gonna be focused on Daniel Jones coming off a torn ACL? Like I think they could really try to put the clamps on Singletary. So I don't know. I don't see it with the Giants, but I could be wrong. Like, you know, I thought that the Buccaneers are going to be awful last year, and they made the playoffs. Although, like, granted, in the NFC South, which is terrible, and they lucked into a lot of wins. So they were 9-18. They probably should have been like 6-11, but you know, still like 6-11 still was better than I projected. So yeah, I have been wrong about the stuff before. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not seeing it with the Giants, but man, it's just like I really don't know how they can block well enough. I don't know how they can cover. Yeah, I just don't know about their other pieces. And plus, like I said, Daniel Jones coming off the torn ACL is just really problematic. This says appreciate the advice, Walt. Well, you're welcome, but like hopefully you bounce back, and yeah, I'm sure you will. You know, I've talked to you for so many years. Like you're a pretty sharp guy, so I think you're going to bounce back. Chris Sonny says, but the only weakness on the Giants would be like you said, the secondary, but their offensive line will improve because they added some veterans to the line. Yeah, they added like some crappy veterans though. Like maybe they're gonna be better than what we saw last year, but man, I don't know. Is it gonna be that much better? I just don't see it. I don't think the blocking is gonna be there. Another thing to add, Walt, the Giants have capable backups that can win games, such as Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. I don't think you can sell me on that. Drew Lock beat the Eagles last year, but I feel like everyone was beating the Eagles late last year. And it wasn't really like Drew Lock. Drew Lock made one good throw at the end to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like he wasn't doing much. It was just the Eagles were sucking, and Jalen Hurts was playing with the flu. So he wasn't on point, and the Eagles were missing players. Like the Eagles got blown out by the Buccaneers like a few weeks later. So I wouldn't read too much about it. And they lost to Arizona at home too. It's something else. Like Arizona, a team that got dismantled by the Rams. Like they went into Philly and won. So I don't know about Drew Lock, and then Tommy DeVito. Like, yeah, he had a good win against the Packers on Monday night, and but man, he's just remember that game against the Saints though. A week later, I think it was the week after that Packers win. Like he looked dreadful against the Saints. So just not really buying Tommy DeVito. So yeah, no Quacky still. Have not gotten a text from him. So let's jump into the week 2 lines. Again, I was hoping to do this with Quacky, but so Buffalo Miami is the Thursday night game. Looks like Miami is let me enlarge this. Miami says Miami's +1, -117. Buffalo's +1. These are different sports books. I assume that Miami is -1. I think that's a fair number. Again, Miami's playing at night. The NFL kind of screwed them by taking away an afternoon game in like the 95-degree humid heat. So Buffalo has to be feeling pretty thankful about that. I think this is like a pretty evenly matched game. So I don't have a lean on either side. But I think something important to note here, and Slew brought this up when we were talking week 1 last Saturday. The Bills play Arizona in week 1, and the Bills are almost certain to be looking ahead to this game. And I did the season preview on the Cardinals, and like I don't think they're that bad. Their defense has some holes for sure, but their offense is, as long as Kyler Murray's healthy, and like he's going to be injured at some point, but week 1 he's going to be there. As long as he's healthy, like that offense is going to score points. And so I think Arizona can hang with Buffalo, maybe even pull the upset. Like maybe that's like one of the crazy week 1 upsets. Like we see that all the time. Like remember the Steelers beat the Bills a couple weeks ago or a couple years ago. I think that could be similar here. So I think like that's the important thing to note about this game. Also, Miami plays Jacksonville in week 1 at home. So maybe that's a look ahead as well. I think it's more likely that Buffalo will look ahead than Miami, just because like they're playing the Cardinals. Like the Cardinals are not going to get any respect. Whereas like the Jaguars at least are in the conference. They were in the playoffs in 2022. So Miami could pay a little attention to them, but that's also a game they could be looking ahead. So yeah, there's like I wouldn't take Buffalo or Miami in week 1 just because they might be looking ahead to this game, and it's a huge game. Like it could decide the division. Saints Cowboys. Cowboys are -6. I don't like either team. I was really hoping for easier opponent or like tougher opponents here for Dallas. Where like Dallas would still be favored. Like in week 1, Dallas plays Cleveland. And like Cleveland's a home dogs for some reason, which is I think is absurd. So I definitely like Cleveland there, but like I don't like the Saints. So I'm not excited to bet them. I can see Dallas just running up the score. Like Dallas tends to demolish bad teams, and I think the Saints they're probably a bad team. Like they have some good things going on. They still have Alvin Kamara. Chris Olave is really good. They have a few good defensive pieces, Marshawn Lattimore, and a couple other guys. But I think overall this team's just not that good. So I think like this is a game where like Dallas might blow out its opponent, and everyone gets hyped up about Dallas, and then we could fade them in week 3. I don't know how they play in week 3, but that might be a good opportunity for sure. Mike says, take the Dolphins, revenge factor. Yeah, I don't really like buy revenge in a game where both teams can be motivated, Like I feel like revenge only plays a factor where like one team is just not focused. Like, for example, if the Dolphins were like expected to be bad this year, for example, and like the Bills were like 6-point favorites on the road, because like everyone thinks the Bills are gonna be good, then I think revenge would certainly be a factor, because like the Bills just wouldn't be focused against the Dolphins, or at least you wouldn't think so. But like this is a big game for both teams, so I think that they're definitely gonna be focused here. So I just wouldn't buy into revenge there, but the revenge angles do work. It just depends on the circumstances. And so we have Raiders at Ravens. Looks like we get a +8.5 with the Raiders and a -7 with the Ravens. Probably -7.5. It's because it's 7 -120. With this, I think I like the Raiders here quite a bit, actually, because I'm higher. I forget who said in the chat. It might have been John Sanders, or I forget who it was, but someone said I'm higher on the Raiders than anyone in the world or something, which might be true. But I really like their defense. The defense was 7th in EPA last year, and they added Christian Wilkins. Like it's going to be a lot better. Their offense has great weapons with Adams and Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. Their offensive line should be better than it was last year. It's not great, but it has some really good pieces. And then you have Gardner Minshew, who almost took the Colts to the playoffs last year. Like this Raider team, I think is going to be really competitive. And the Ravens have fallen off. Like they lost 3 offensive linemen. I think their defense has some holes. Like their secondary just doesn't look amazing, or at least the cornerbacks don't. So I think the Raiders could pull an upset here. Like I don't think the Ravens. It depends who they play in week 3, but they might not be focused as a big favorite against the Raiders. I know this is an early game, like East Coast time, 1 o'clock for a West Coast team, but that really doesn't bother me. I think that only applies to like bad teams. It just like makes bad teams worse. But like good teams playing on the like good West Coast teams playing on the East Coast, I feel like are unaffected by that. So I think the Raiders look really good to me so far. Let's see here. Sue says Ravens may have difficulties early on with the good defensive lines. It's a good point. I mean, that offensive line missing 3 players against you got Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins and Malcolm Kuntz. That's pretty tough. That's a really tough matchup. It's a good point. Stanley says, "Hey Walt, do you think after next season the Cowboys will try to hire Deion Sanders as their next head coach?" I could maybe see that. I think that Jerry Jones would love to make a big splash. He almost fired Mike McCarthy this offseason. Charlie Campbell reported this. He almost fired McCarthy, and he was going to give Jason Witten an interview. Now, I don't like. I said this before. I don't think like that was a serious interview. Like, I think he was just trying to get his old friend's name out there in the head coaching world, because like Witten's a high school coach right now. Yeah, I think that Jerry Jones had to be talked out of it. So if the Cowboys miss the playoffs or lose in the first round, I think they have to get to the second round for McCarthy to keep his job. If he doesn't get there, which I don't think they will, like I think McCarthy's definitely gone. So yeah, it could be Deion. I'm surprised he didn't go after Belichick. Like Belichick's definitely an option. Something like that. Maybe Mike Vrabel. I don't know if that's like a big enough splash for Jerry Jones, but I think someone like that. Yeah, Deion Sanders could definitely be a possibility. So next game is Giants at Redskins. Redskins are -2.5. Giants are +3, -120. Redskins have like a horrible home field advantage, but it's hard for me not to take them here because I just don't like the Giants at all. Now, Stanley might disagree and he might like the Giants, but I think the Redskins are going to be a good team this year, or at least like relatively good in the NFC. I think they could have 8 wins or so. I think they're really improved. At least I think they are right now. Like I haven't done the season preview yet, so like I might be singing a different tune when I do that. And sure, I'll probably get to that in like 3, 4, or 5 days. I think the Redskins are a lot better than the Giants, and I think this line should be higher than 3. I can't see any implications from this game from week 1. Chargers at Panthers. Chargers are -3.5 on the road. Panthers are +5. I think I like the Panthers here. I think the Panthers are going to be not horrible. Like I think they're going to be probably subpar. I don't think they're going to be mediocre, but like I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. And the Chargers, they're still going to be getting used to having a new head coach. They have a bunch of new receivers. Like Justin Herbert's going to have to gel with them, and I can't imagine him playing in the preseason. So like there might be a learning curve there. The Panthers really strengthened their offensive line, which is going to be key against the Chargers pass rushers, Bosa and Mack. The Chargers defensive line, like not the edge guys, but their like actual defensive line is really bad. And so the Panthers might be able to push around the Chargers that way. So Panthers +5 at home seems pretty good. I don't love it, but I think that's probably a side I'd be on, and I might bet that for a unit or two. If Colts at Packers should be a really good game. I love both teams this year. I mean, Packers everyone loves. Colts I think are underrated, and maybe +4 indicates that they're +4. Packers are -4. The Colts are, like I said, really underrated. They were like a weird play away from making the playoffs last year. Like they almost beat Houston week 18. Had they done so, I think they'd be getting a lot more respect now. I think people forget how good they were. And like Anthony Richardson played like 3.5 games. So he's going to be back. Jonathan Taylor's going to be playing the whole year. Remember, he really didn't play with Anthony Richardson. I think they played 1 game together maybe. And I think like Taylor was limited in that game because he's like on his way back. Remember, Zach Moss got a bunch of carries. So they never really played together. And so you have Taylor here against the Green Bay defense that generally struggles against the run. So I think that's the way the Colts can like control the clock. And you have AFC versus NFC. As much as I like the Packers this year, I think I like the Colts in this game. Don't see any relevance in week 1 though for these teams. Chris says Neon Sanders may struggle this year. I can see 3-9. Really? I don't know. I know they still have Hunter, a quarterback, and they have Shador Sanders, obviously. I don't really know the rest of the roster yet. I haven't like dug into college football at all. It's hard with the portal transfers and everything like that. Just always forget who goes where. But we'll see. I mean, they defied the odds last year. Maybe they'll do that again. I don't know. Sue says, trying to remember, Jacob revealed mid-season NFC South very poor ATS outside the division, or did it level out last 4 or 5 weeks? I don't think it leveled out. I mean, I can look it up real fast right now. I'm gonna punch it in. Actually, let's see. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna punch it in right now and see what we get. Here we go. So no, that's not it. That's not it either. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So NFC South last year, outside of the division in 2023, there was 17-29 against the spread. Although look at the as soon as we noticed it, they started winning. So the Falcons beat the Jets. Although remember that was with what's his name? Todd Boyle or Brandon Boyle or whatever, Tim Boyle. That was with Tim Boyle. So I would not count that. The Jets with Boyle were awful. Then you had Buccaneers, Packers. Still not sure what happened in this game. That was a weird one. I like the Packers, even at -4, and the Buccaneers kind of shellacked them. I just not sure why. And like Christian Watson was out, I think, and I think the Packers were on a short week. I think week 14 was the Giants game. So they were on a short week. They didn't have Christian Watson. They didn't have Aaron Jones. Still, though, I just don't know. You have Saints versus Giants here. So the Giants, that was Giants with Tommy DeVito. I just mentioned that like 20 minutes ago. Tommy DeVito was so bad in this game, so they didn't have a chance. Saints Rams, that was a Thursday night game. Saints won that, or Rams won that easily. It says 30-22, but Saints scored a bunch of garbage time points. Okay, so Falcons Colts. The Falcons clobbered the Colts. That's 29-10. I'm not sure what happened there. I think that was. I want to say was that a week after the Colts beat the Steelers on Saturday? Might have been. And so I don't know. Maybe the Colts were just smelling themselves a little too much, as Kenny would say. I don't know. It's a strange result. Then you had the Panthers covering against the Packers. I remember Tom being so mad at the Packers in that game. And I think that was like the last time the Packers looked bad, because week 17, I believe they crushed the Vikings, and then week 18 they crushed the Bears, and then they destroyed the Cowboys in the first round, and then they almost beat the Niners. So I guess they just weren't focused in this game because maybe they assumed they would just destroy the Panthers. It's a weird result, right? Like, given that what happened after this game, just goes to show that just 1 week in the NFL just can be radically different the next week. So you had Buccaneers, Jaguars. I would not read anything into this game because Trevor Lawrence is playing with a million injuries. I think Trevor Lawrence actually left the game here, and I think that was the last time he played, I believe. He was just so injured. He had 3 or 4 different injuries, and he was coming off a concussion. I remember that specifically. I remember this game thinking that, hey, I'd like the Jaguars, but Lawrence is coming off a concussion. Quarterbacks coming off of concussions last year, or actually the past 3 years that I've been tracking it, just a horrible track record against the spread. I think I have it on my computer here. So quarterbacks coming off a concussion, they are 4-11 against the spread the past 3 years. At least the ones I've kept track of. Okay, so what else do we have? We have Panthers, Jaguars. So the Panthers did not cover against the Jaguars. They lost 26-0. Kind of funny that they almost beat the Packers here, and then they got destroyed by the Jaguars, who looked dead against the Buccaneers. Again, funny how the NFL works. Falcons against the Bears. They lost 37-17. I think Justin Fields got hurt in the second half here, but the Bears still won pretty easily. And then you had in the playoffs, you had Buccaneers, Eagles. Eagles are missing a lot of players here, and they just look dead. And then the Buccaneers did not cover against the Lions. So it kind of evened out a little bit, but there was Tim Boyle was involved. Tommy DeVito was involved. A concussed Trevor Lawrence was involved. So kind of misleading. I still think it's a good trend. Or maybe not a trend, but a philosophy. If you think a division's horrible, which again, like NFC South, I think is horrible this year. Maybe not the Falcons, but everyone else. You just want to fade those teams because what happens is one team will play the other, and whoever wins is going to look good. And then people are like, "Oh, this team has a good record. They won a couple games," but then they don't realize they just beat other crappy teams. So I still think it's a good strategy to fade these NFC South teams out of the division. Again, maybe not, and maybe Atlanta doesn't apply, but if Kirk Cousins is not 100%, then maybe it does. Chris says Colorado's moving back to the Big 12. I have not kept track of these movements. I was just told yesterday that, or not yesterday, a few days ago that USC and Washington are moving to the Big Ten this year. I thought that was like in 3 years. It's this year apparently. And I said this too. Like I was looking for Central Florida on CFBstats.com because they order the teams by conference. And I could not find Central Florida to save my life. I could not. Yeah, I even like hit Control F, find Central Florida, and it wasn't there. It's because they abbreviated UCF. I just didn't realize. But like I could not find them. I was so frustrated. But yeah, they are in the Big 12. Central Florida. It's just like so stupid. I don't know. I'm done with. I want to say I'm done with college football, but I can't be really. Sandy says, hey, Walter, I think Tennessee and Denver Broncos are going to be the worst teams in the NFL. What's your thoughts on Seattle? Because I think they're going to be a bad team too. Yeah, I can see Seattle being a bad team. I did their season preview a couple of days ago. Not impressed with the roster overall. Their defense was atrocious last year. It was 31st in EPA. And they did get Byron Murphy, but I don't think that's enough. They lost Bobby Wagner. They lost their top 2 safeties and top 3 linebackers. So they did get like some decent replacements, but still, like these guys are going to have to gel together, and players don't play in the preseason anymore, so it's going to be tough. So I think they're going to start slowly. Maybe they'll get better in the second half of the season, but I don't think they're going to be good. I agree that Denver is going to be awful, but Tennessee, I don't think Tennessee is going to be that bad. Tennessee has some good receivers now. They have 2 good running backs. Their offensive line has improved, not just with J.C. Latham, but with Lloyd Cushenberry, who they got from Denver. And their quarterbacks are awesome. Like they got L'Jarius Sneed and Chidobe Awuzie to play on the outside, and Roger McCreary, who's played well. He's gonna be in the slot. Like it's three really good cornerbacks, and like 2 or 1 great one really good one. Oh, actually 2 really good ones. And they still have Howard Landry, Jeffrey Simmons to rush the passer. Their linebackers looked pretty bad, but and they do have a new head coach, and Will Levis. We'll see what happens with him. But like, I think Tennessee's not bad, and if Tennessee were playing in the NFC, I actually think they could push for a playoff spot. AFC, no chance, but NFC, like I think they'd win. I think they'd be as good as Washington is. Like if you swap them to Washington, I think I'd feel the same way about Washington that I do with. I feel the same way about Tennessee that I do with Washington. So it says Seattle should start 2-0. After that, it doesn't look good. Who's Seattle play? Seattle plays Denver week 1. We'll see who they play in week 2 because we'll get to it here. All right, so San Francisco, Minnesota. This is the revenge game from that Monday night. San Francisco lost to the Vikings, but that was Kirk Cousins, and now we have JJ McCarthy here. I think the Niners are going to remember that game, and I think they're probably going to curb stomp the Vikings. They're -6. Vikings are +7. Yeah, and I can't say Minnesota's going to look ahead in week 1 because they're either underdogs or like close to pick them against I would say it's the Giants, I think. But yeah, I think the Niners are going to take it to the Vikings here unless they have like some injuries or something. Browns, Jaguars. Browns are +1. Jaguars to pick them. The Jaguars are going to have a nice advantage here because it's going to be hot and humid in Jacksonville. It's week 2. And I believe it's the 1 o'clock game. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. So yeah, I think I'd like Jacksonville just based on that. But I think Cleveland's a better team, but I think Jacksonville is just going to have a huge advantage. I remember the Jaguars playing the Patriots in week 2 of 2017. That was the year that they went to the AFC Championship. They played New England week 2, and I remember that game. It was like a sauna. Like they were talking about, like it was like 90 degrees and like extremely humid. It felt like they were playing in a rainforest. And the Jaguars just dismantled the Patriots, who eventually beat them in the AFC Championship. But the Patriots had no chance against the Jaguars in those conditions. And I think that we might see something similar here. Just something that Miami's missing out on, having this night game. So here's the Seattle game. Seattle at New England. Seattle's -2.5. Patriots are +2.5. I don't know if the Seattle's going to win this game necessarily. They are favored. They could. But the Patriots are playing at home. It's a 1:00 game on the East Coast. Like I said, doesn't mean too much here for most teams, but Seattle's going to have a new head coach, so he may not be used to this, and Seattle's not a good team. So I think like bad teams playing in these conditions are going to have it much tougher than good teams. And the Patriots have, of the 4 units, I think, I don't know if like Seattle's offense is better than New England's defense. It might be New England's defense that's the best unit out of the 4 in this game. And Seattle's really bad against the run. It feels like the Patriots should be able to run on them. I think the Patriots could pull an upset here. I'm not going to like rush to bet this. I may not even bet it, especially less than 3. If it was +3, I think I'd have some interest. But +2.5, no, not really. But I do think I don't think Seattle will necessarily win this game. Like I do think they'll beat Denver, but I don't know about the Patriots. Like I said, but I've been saying this before. Broncos and Patriots are both gonna be really bad this year, but at least the Patriots can do something well. Like they can play defense well. Broncos can't do anything well. So I think they could slow down Seattle enough to take this game. Jets at Niners. Jets at Titans. Sorry, Jets are -3.5. Titans are +4. I guess it depends what happens week 1. The Jets play the Niners at San Francisco week 1 on Monday night. If they win that game, I think they lose this one. If they lose that game, I think they win this one. I think they don't come out of week 2 at 2-0. Just because, like, if they beat the Niners, that's such a huge win for them, and they're going to be flying back to the East Coast, and they're going to have to travel to Tennessee on a short week. Lots of jet lag here, and I think they're going to overlook Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to get no respect, and I think the Titans really specialize at running the ball, and the Jets' defense, their weakness is stopping the run. So I just think it's a good matchup for Tennessee. But if the Jets lose to the Niners, I think there might be some urgency to start 2-0, and we might get a lower number than -3.5. Either way, I'm going to like the Titans at the ATS, as long as it's over 3. If it's +3, might not have interest, but I think this is a game where the Titans just will match up really well against the Jets. But yeah, especially if the Jets win in San Francisco, like this is gonna be a really good play for me on Tennessee, because if the Jets pull the upset, like this line's gonna be like 5.5 or 6, So we're gonna have a good number on Tennessee, especially if they lose week 1 to the Bears. Mike says Niners. Yeah, I like the Niners there. All right, so we have Tampa at Detroit, the rematch of the divisional round last year. So Tampa plays Carolina. No, Carolina plays New Orleans. Who does Tampa play week 1? I can pull it up here. I think Tampa plays. They play the Jaguars. Who they play? Tampa plays. They play 4:00. Okay, against Washington. Okay, so they play against Washington. They could look ahead to this game for sure. It's a big revenge spot. They're going to be big underdogs in Detroit. So this is what I'm talking about, like going back to week 1, and like credit to Slew who put us onto this last week. Tampa, I think Tampa is definitely going to look past Washington. They're not going to focus on Washington because they have Detroit coming up, and Washington's better than people think. So like Washington seems like a really good play here. Not even for the look at. Like I even like Washington before I knew this, but like now Tampa's going to be looking at the Detroit. Like now I really like Washington. And as for this game, I think I might like Tampa. Tampa plays better on the road than they do at home. Like their home record is abysmal, and Detroit they have a big game week 1. Yeah, they play the Rams in week 1. So if they win that game, which is another playoff rematch, it's kind of weird that they have one. They have 2 playoff matches to start the year. If they win that one, they might not be focused here. This might be like one of those Seattle games, like with the Lions play against Seattle, where it's like 33-30, and like, the Lions win, but they don't cover. So I think that's like most likely to happen. Like I think the Lions probably win this game by 3. So I would lean toward Tampa, but like I'm not excited about Tampa. And again, like you're going against the NFC South outside the division, so Yeah, so I don't really see myself betting this game, but I think that the main takeaway from this is that Tampa is going to be looking ahead past Washington week 1. So I think that's definitely bound to happen. Sanders says, "Hey, why the Miami Dolphins not projected to be a Super Bowl team when they now have Odell Beckham to complement Tyreek Hill and Waddle?" Well, I mean, I think Miami could get to the Super Bowl. The problem is that the AFC is so stacked and there's so many good teams. If the Dolphins were playing the NFC, like they'd have a much better chance. But in the AFC, it's going to be a difficult road for them. Odell Beckham, not high on. He's past his prime. He's a fine third option, I guess, at the stage of his career, but like he's not the Odell Beckham of old. So like Beckham being there like doesn't mean much to me, but the Dolphins have a ton of upside outside of Beckham too. So I mean that's why I like him. Sue says week 2, first games of new coach versus new coach. Seattle at Patriots, Chargers at Panthers. Yeah, new coach plus new quarterback is something you want to fade to in week 1. So you have Patriots for them. And that's it out of these 4. I think you might have a couple other ones. I don't know if I'd count like Falcons with their new head coach and Kirk Cousins, just because Cousins is such a veteran player. But yeah, generally like new coach plus new quarterback week 1 is a good fade. So what do we have next? We have Rams at Cardinals. The Rams are -1.5, Cardinals plus 2.5. The Rams tend to own the Cardinals. There's this weird like rock, paper, scissors thing in the NFC West, where it's like the Rams own the Cardinals seem to own the Seahawks. The Seahawks they don't own the Niners, but tend to play against the Niners pretty well. The Niners own the Rams, and like then the Rams own the Cardinals. So like it's just it's a four-way rock, paper, scissors thing in the NFC West. I just don't know why this happens, but the Cardinals can't ever seem to beat the Rams. I said this like 20 minutes ago, but the Rams shellacked the Cardinals before the Cardinals beat the Eagles. I would take the Rams here at -1.5. Anything under 3 looks pretty good to me. But I don't see any look ahead factors. Bengals at Chiefs. This is a huge game. But the Chiefs play against the Ravens in week 1, so they're not going to be looking ahead. The Bengals, however, they play against I know they're a big favorite. Who are they favored against? The Patriots. So this is a tough one. Patriots have new coach plus new quarterback, and the Bengals are going to be looking ahead to this game. So I would stay away from this. And plus, the Bengals always play bad in week 1 and week 2 under Joe Burrow. They just have an abysmal track record. So maybe the Chiefs take this one for that reason. Plus, the Chiefs are going to the Chiefs are going to have extra time to prepare too, because they play Thursday night. If they lose that game, this line might drop a little bit to like 3.5, maybe even 3 if we're lucky. And then the Chiefs at -3 would look really good, I think, if they lose to the Ravens week 1. Now, if they beat the Ravens, we won't have that edge, but it's just something to look out for. Pittsburgh at Denver. Pittsburgh's -3, Denver's +3. Yeah, I mean, so I guess this is the Russell Wilson revenge game, if you want to call it that. But like Russell Wilson sucks these days, so I don't like. It's not like an angle I want to pursue really. And the Steelers at -3. Like the Steelers are always better as a dog. The Steelers as favorites have a bad track record, especially as road favorites. Now generally applies to like -3.5 or more, but after week 1, this might be 3.5 or more. So if you like the Steelers, I think I'd bet them now at -3, because like if Denver just looks awful week 1, then we might see this line move. Plus, I think like people might be on the Russell Wilson revenge game train, but like I said, I have no interest in betting this game at the moment. Now maybe we get a weird number if Denver wins in Seattle or Pittsburgh loses week 1. Maybe we get like a -1. And in that case, I would have interest in Steelers, but at the moment, no, I don't like this number at all. Bears at Texans. So this is Caleb Williams versus CJ Stroud, which is could be appealing. Bears are +4, Texans -3. I don't see other team looking ahead to this game. Oh, maybe the Bears. Maybe the Bears look ahead to Houston because they have Tennessee week 1. I think that's a possibility, but not quite sold on that. But I think I take the Texans because it's AFC versus NFC. As long as it's -3. If it's 3.5, just no interest. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a good feel for this one. And then we have Atlanta Eagles. Atlanta's +4. Eagles are -3.5. This is NFC South outside the division. The Eagles are going to be really good this year. Actually asked ChatGPT who it thinks is going to win the Super Bowl this year, and it says Chiefs and then the Eagles. And I'm like, wow, those are the top two teams in my power rankings. Not that I trust ChatGPT too much, but I thought that was pretty funny. The Eagles are much better than Atlanta. Like, they should be higher than -3.5. This should be like 6 or 6.5. And I think people remember the Eagles' bad finish last year. They started 10-1, and then they just capsized down the stretch. Yeah, I mean, that was because the defense was awful. The defense can be a lot better this year. Plus, AJ Brown was playing hurt. Jalen Hurts had the flu in one game. And now they have Saquon Barkley. Like I said, better defense. So as long as this is under 6, I like the Eagles here. As far as look aheads, does Atlanta look ahead? Who's Atlanta play week 1? Atlanta plays, if I can find it. Atlanta plays the Steelers week 1. Nah, they're not going to look past the Steelers. So nothing there. Let's see. Rams host the Niners week 3. Okay, so do they look? I don't know if they look past Arizona because it's a divisional game and it's only -1.5. If they were a bigger favorite, like if the Cardinals get like destroyed by the Bills in week 1, for example, it's like 52-7 or something, and the Rams beat the Lions in week 1, and then suddenly instead of -1, the Rams are like -3.5 or -4, then I think you could be onto something there as far as the look ahead. But at -1.5, a divisional game. And I do think Arizona's going to play Buffalo well. So if all that happens, then I don't think it's going to be look ahead. Just because like it's a divisional game. Like if they had already played Arizona, they're playing them second time. They beat them the first time, then I could see it. But generally, like teams will focus in on divisional games as long as the team they're playing like isn't like an abomination. Like if they're like Giants level bad, then maybe they look past them. But still, I think they'll be focused on Arizona. Chris says hard to see Caleb looking his first game in week 1. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think they really look past Tennessee, but it could be a thing where like they don't really take Tennessee that seriously because they might think they suck, But I wouldn't like really call that a real look ahead game though. Chris says, although I will be on the Titans spread, yeah, for sure. Rams Niners may not matter if LA is trying to avoid an 0-2 start. That's definitely it's definitely true. If they lose to the Lions, they're going to be focused. Mike says maybe Quacky got the days mixed up with the holiday weekend. Maybe that's the case. I think the most likely thing is that he fell asleep watching the game like I did and just never woke up. So yeah, I don't know what happened. But yeah, like I said, hopefully he's okay. It's just like you never know what could happen. I saw today, by the way, speaking of bad things happening today, I saw Grayson Murray died. He's a golfer. He was in this tournament. Where was he? Yeah, he withdrew. He's 38th in the FedEx Cup too. Like he's having a good season. He's 10th in the Wells Fargo. He won the Sony Open. He's 25th in the Arnold Palmer. Like that's a good year for him. And he died today. It's crazy. He withdrew because he was not feeling well, and then he just died Saturday morning. It's crazy. So yeah, condolences to him and his family. That sucks. Like, that came out of nowhere because I saw the headline like Grayson Murray died. What? He's just golfing. He was golfing on Friday. And he withdrew. It's insane. So yeah, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, apparently like he just fell sick on Friday and just died. It's crazy. But yeah, that's horrible. But yeah, anyway, we got another comment here. Let's see. Stanley says, hey, Walt, do you think Washington will be good when they have a brand new coach, a brand new quarterback, a brand new system? I think they might struggle in the first half of the season. They could. I do like their talent, though. If you think about it, like their system last year, the quarterback last year and the coach last year were all horrible. So I think there's upgrades across the board. I do think they'll have some inconsistencies. Like I can see them. I can see them like having a great game and then having a terrible game. Like they're going to be all over the place because like they have the talent, but it's not quite there yet. So I think maybe 2025 is going to be their year to make the playoffs. You have Jane Daniels' second year for the coach. I assume by then they'll get some better pass rushers because it seems to be the weakness of their team. They had the worst pressure rate in the NFL last year. So, I do think you make a good point, Stanley. Like they're gonna have some games where they look really bad, but I think that like their talent is pretty good. So I think they're gonna win some games for sure. So it says maybe Toys R Us was having a late night wake, and Quacky felt obligated to attend. Rest in peace to Toys R Us. I tweeted that on Friday. That like someone posted the history of Toys R Us and like all the stores they opened and then how they closed. And man, I had such a good time with my parents at Toys R Us. Like whenever it was either Christmas or my birthday, we would go to Toys R Us, or my sister's birthday. My dad would say, "You have $100 to spend. You can buy anything you want for it, as long as it's $100 or less." And I would always like be at like $99.99. I'd like just do all the math and like just get, if I had like $96 worth of toys, I get like something dumb for $3 I didn't really even want. But like, that was always fun, like trying to figure out what I wanted. And I always like run around the store, just like I was so happy as a kid just being in Toys R Us. And like it sucks that all the stores are closed. Like I'd love to go there with my kids. Like my son would have a blast there. I met my daughter, not yet. She's only 9 months, but my son, like he would go nuts. He would go like all the Mario toys and like like if I gave him the same deal, like $100, although with like inflation, it's probably like 200 now. If I did that, like he would go like running all over the place and like getting all these toys. Like, and I feel like he'd be the same way. He'd be getting stuff that he didn't want. Just I don't he doesn't like understand the concept of money yet, and like he can't count to 100 yet. He's counting, he can count to 20, although he stumbles in the late teens. Like he'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4. He gets up to like 12, be like 11, 12, 13, 14, 18, 19, 20. Like he'll just skip 15, 16, 17. No, he can count to 20, but I don't know if he understands the concept of $100 or 100 yet. But maybe definitely in a year, like he would have a blast. Well, like, I mean, he'd have fun regardless, though. Like it was such a fun place. I don't know, it sucks. Chris says R.I.P. Toys R Us. Yeah. I was Toys R Us actually. I think Macy's bought Toys R Us. And then if you go into Macy's, I saw that report because I used to have Macy's stock. It was like a couple of years ago. So I bought Macy's stock during COVID just because I thought they were going to bounce back. And they did. Not like as much as I hoped, but they did a little bit. But they bought Toys R Us. And like if you go into a Macy's, they have a section that's like a Toys R Us, but it's so small. It's like not even worth it. I always thought that like it'd be a good idea to have a virtual Toys R Us where like you put on like VR goggles or something, and like you go into a virtual Toys R Us and you get to pick out what you want. You get to like select stuff and then you add it to your cart and like you can check out. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know how they do it, and I don't know if Macy's is ever going to do that, something like that. But I thought that'd be a pretty cool idea. Like I'd love to. I think my son would love it. You know. All right. So Cinder asking what's the hedge, Walt? I said that. So my initial plan was to bet Davis Riley for 3 units to get my money back at plus 110. But I rethought that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet 2 units now on Riley plus 110, and then I'm going to look for a better opportunity tomorrow, like plus 180 or higher, like ideally like plus 200 on Riley, and then I'll bet a 3rd unit on Riley at plus 200 tomorrow. So that's my plan at the moment. Chris says, have a friend that worked there. 300. What is this number? 3,554,647 years ago. It's a long time. It even got to where was it Jeffrey or Joffrey? Hopefully not Joffrey. The Jeffrey, the giraffe costume. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I imagine working there would be pretty hectic with all the kids running around. But it was fun to go there as a kid. I can't imagine working there might be like a nightmare though. Sue says Quacky proud ex Toys R Us employee still has his work shirt. Yeah, that's true. Mike says with inflation it'll be 500 now. Actually, we could do an inflation calculator. I think you might be right, but inflation calculator. Let's see. I don't know if this is the right site. So okay, yeah. So $100 in, let's just say if I was 6 years old, so August of 1988 as April 2024 now is $263.49. So I was short. I shorted my son $63. So yeah. So if we went to Toys R Us now, it would be oh, hold on. I didn't where did I put it? Right here. So I'm gonna pull it up so you guys can see it. Yeah, right here. It's let me enlarge. Yeah, so yeah, August 1988, $100 is $263.49 right now. So, man, our economy is not doing too well, huh? Yeah, so yeah, if we went to Toys R Us, it seems like a lot now. It seems like $263. Like it feels like my house would be flooded with toys if that were the case. So maybe I'd still do 100. It says now many parents just give their kid a tablet. Not good. Yeah. My son has a tablet. We just give to him in like emergencies. Like for example, like he had to have an operation on his ears. He had to get tubes in his ears. So as he was waiting, like we gave him a tube. We gave him the tablet just to calm him down and stuff. But that's like we like never give him the tablet. I unfortunately I have to give him my phone sometimes. Like if my wife is not home and I'm cooking dinner. He loves to climb stuff. Like he'll climb all over the counters, or like the stove's hot, like he'll try to touch the stove. So like I had no choice but to give him my phone, and like there's some weird videos on YouTube. I did a Jerks of the Week on it. There are some really weird videos on YouTube. So I don't like it at all. Like I try not to give him my phone or a tablet, but sometimes just have to. But I just don't like it. True might still be alive in Canada. Cinder says hate to give so much away. Yeah, I get it, but like right now for me, it's my bet on Scheffler is 350 to win 1480. So if you give away 300, it's still 1180. It's still pretty good, but it does suck. I just I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting to last week, and I didn't bet Schauffele when I had the Shambo at 30-1. Still feeling it, but Scheffler is 4 behind. And as I pulled this up before, I'll show you. Data Golf, which is really good. They have Riley at 52% and Scheffler 36%. Now I said this before. Like I think I would flip them just because Riley is just not a good golfer. But four strokes is a lot. Like what if Scheffler just does not have a great day? Then Riley's going to win. So it would suck to not get anything. So I think it's the right move to hedge. But if you could always bet less for sure. It says, hey Walt, why did the Eagles trade Hassan Reddick to the Jets for Bryce Huff? I think Reddick is the better pass rusher. Yes, Reddick is better right now, but the Eagles are always looking toward the future. The Eagles historically, this is going back to the 90s. They always will trade players for the most part if they're about to hit 30. Or if they actually hit 30, they'll move on from players. Like they did that with Jeremiah Trotter. It's like the first example I can think of. I guess that was like 2002, so maybe not the 90s, but early 2000s. They moved from Jeremiah Trotter, and that actually cost them in the NFC Championship against the Buccaneers because John Gruden noticed that the Eagles had a big hole at inside linebacker. I think Mark Simoneau was their linebacker, if I remember correctly, but could be wrong. But yeah, they could not cover the middle of the field, and like. Gruden just attacked the middle of the field nonstop. And like if the Eagles had Trotter there, they may have won that game. But this is what they do. And like just think about it this way, like in 3 years, Hassan Reddick at 33 just may not be productive. And in 3 years, Bryce Huff is maybe a Pro Bowler. So the Eagles are just looking ahead. This year it's not ideal, but down the road it's going to look better. The Sue says, will we like to see your dentist inflation calculator? I have no idea where he came up with the $12 from McDonald's. Even if you do, I don't know. Like I would say like let's see, 269 cheeseburgers now. In 1988, hypothetically, they'd be $7 now, not even 12. So, given like our crazy inflation, like the cheeseburgers still will not reach $12. So I have no idea where he came up with that. And by the way, the 59-cent cheeseburgers when I was in high school, that was like 97. What would it be now? It'd be $1.15. So McDonald's is ripping us off. I don't know, like their inflation is crazy. So yeah, I always say this: McDonald's had 59-cent cheeseburgers in when I was in high school. Now it should be $1.15, not 269. I don't know where they got that from. So, and then Chris says, always try to make your show one of these weird YouTube videos. I'm always it's always great to be weird. You gotta stick out, right? So nothing wrong with being weird at all. So yeah, guys, I guess that's it. We're approaching like 1:30 in the morning. So thank you for everyone for commenting, watching. Really appreciate it. It sucks that Quacky can come on. I was really looking forward to talk about week 2 with Quacky and then get into Game of Thrones. Actually, before I started recording, I watched the Game of Thrones episodes just to make sure we had to talk about it, but he was just not on. So yeah, like I said, hopefully he's okay. But I'm pretty sure he's just like passed out, just watching the game or something. So, yeah, guys, really appreciate it. Thank you for leaving those comments and watching the videos. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would be appreciated. You can buy my book. Once again, it's on Amazon, Jerks of the College Years. That would help us out a lot. Or the merch store. We have Sloth Month. We have Pedo Pete, True Not a Shop of Pressure, Money Laundering, Rogers Bucker. There are 4 lights. We have a bunch of other ones. We have Jerk of the Week, Debacled, 801, and AMC sucks. I made that one. I had some faith in AMC, but Adam Aaron might be the worst CEO of all time. I'm fully into GameStop though. I think, and GameStop, by the way, just raised $1 billion. They have $2 billion in cash, no debt, and $2 billion in cash. So. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's I feel like it's a good stock to own. Brandon sucks. It's let's go, Brandon. We have Brandon sucks. GameStop, AMC, Diamond Hands. I wish I didn't Diamond Hand AMC. Ken Griffin lied. It's Free Gruden, which is pretty popular with John Gruden. We actually sent John Gruden this shirt, and I from what I heard, he got a kick out of it. But yeah, it was pretty funny that he got that. And then Cole's Body, Cole's Choice, of course. Sue with the 222 saving us. Thank you, Sue, so much. Really appreciate it. Like I said, we would get no revenue from our YouTube ads. So thank you, Sue. No shutouts. Thank you, Sue. Chris said maybe give us Quacky's phone number so we can check in on him. Yeah, I'm sure Quacky would really appreciate that. But yeah, and then Mike says, thanks, Walt. No, thank you for watching and commenting. Just really appreciate you guys. We're gonna be back on. I just got a text. This is from Tom. Let's see. No, it's not. It's from my wife. She needs she needs me to get the baby, so I got to get going. Chris says maybe sell aprons. That says Bucker was right. I like that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'm gonna see if I can do that. I love that. So yeah, I got to get going. My wife's asking for help with the baby. So once again, we're gonna be on Tuesday with Jacob. He's gonna be back. Gonna do win totals. So talk to you then. And have a good night. Have a great Memorial Day. And I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday.